finally, this is the first installment of another new series to my channel called Choose Your Hand, where I pit two individual skills, armor, abilities, weapons, or ability types from varying different medias against each other to find out what I consider to be the superior hand for an arsenal that I would choose. And we'll be kicking off this series. For the first episode, we'll be having the Monado from Xenoblade Chronicles series against the Legend of Zelda's Master Sword. And for the sake of technicalities, I'll treat all of these things as if anyone can use them, and all different versions and upgrades and capabilities of the hands will be considered. So heavy spoiler warnings for every installment of this series. So without any more delays, let's kick off this series strong. The first hand that will be shown will be the Monado. The Monado is an immensely powerful energy sword that controls and manipulates the element of ether and the world around it, giving it the ability to influence people, the world, and many other things in countless ways. Now, the Monado itself has many different abilities, pros, and a good set of cons to go along with it. It grants said wielder the ability to see into the future. The future shown to the wielder will occur unless action of some kind is taken, and the visions revealing these futures come in to no amount of scarcity, whether the futures affect the wielder or others in the world around them. The Monado is a long-range blade capable of both sparring and launching ranged non-sword attacks. Tempering of the user's will allows the length of the energy in the Monado to grow past default length. It can even grow up to 3 to 4 times the user's body itself. It's actually pretty insane when you really look at it. The Monado itself has a big set of abilities to it. It generates special ether particles and allows the user to utilize numerous different buffs and spells called Monado arts that are unique to the blade itself, on top of normal combat swinging and sparring. And its full set of Monado arts are these: Monado Purge, a ranged ether blast that prevents opponents from emitting their own spells and putting buffs on themselves and removes any debuffs off of you. Example, spells that can poison, burn, or light-based creeping damage. Monado Buster, it doubles the power of all your attacks and swings for a decent period of time, or depending on how much power you emit for just one attack. Monado Speed, it allows the wielder to move at supersonic speeds for up to 13 seconds at the very most. Monado Shield, it defends against any and all types of attacks, both physical, ranged, and magical. It grants the user a barrier that defends against incredibly powerful attacks with absolutely no consequence to the user himself, as long as the attack isn't stronger than the actual barrier's power. Monado Enchant, it strengthens your weapon, allowing the weapon to be able to damage any and all special materials, even ones to be considered relatively unbreakable by normal weapons. Now that's broken. Now the Monado so far looking pretty broken. Master Sword, you might have to look out. Monado Armor reduces all damage that will be taken from both physical, elemental, and spell-based attacks. So one thing that I have to personally say I really like about the Monado is that the sword itself grants you so many different abilities and adds just onto your skill itself. So you're already skilled with the sword and you pick up the Monado, it'll mesh together so well that you are just absolutely set. And you don't need to have another shield to hold. You don't need another whole set of items and armors and weapons and everything like that. You can just have the Monado itself and you are good to go. That's one thing that I like about it. You can stay focused and refine your ability, even though it has so many different special abilities. You could just focus on that one weapon and refine your technique with that. Moving on, we have Monado Eater, because we still ain't done with its ability. We still are not done with the Monado arts. It completely eliminates enemy power-ups and inflicts a cursing bleed damage onto the enemy. Monado Cyclone, a large radius, powerful energy blast that just knocks people down and sweeps people off their feet. That is why it's called Cyclone. I mean, of course, you're going to sweep people off your feet. And others such as Recover, which heals a large amount of health to the user, and Shooter, which is an unblockable 8-hit range attack blast that deals physical damage. So it feels like it's physical, but doesn't have the effects of a ranged elemental weapon. So I guess you could say kind of like in Dragon Ball, to when hit with punch, it would deal really physical damage. It wasn't like an energy blast that would just surround the enemy. The Monado's power is on the level, being able to kill beings that are considered gods, and the weapon itself is indeed unbreakable. Dang, the Monado, even just from the design itself, the differences that it had from many other legendary weapons in different series is just so special, and I really enjoy the uniqueness of it. Now, of course, every weapon has its drawbacks, no matter how big or little, even if it's just one. Every hand has a drawback, so it's not at all a small sword. So if you want a sword that you really want to fight in close range or be swift with, have some quick stabs in there, or something that's light, you do not want to go with the Monado. The Monado has no scabbard and is best worn on a very inconvenient location, which is on the back, because the Monado itself is a really big sword and the ether that emits from it is even longer. So it has no scabbard. You usually want to use two hands with it, because just to have the most control off of the length that it can grow and the power in your swings, you want to hold it with two hands. So you have to be ready. Sorry, getting the Monado out, it is very slow to ready. Remember, like I said, the back is the most inconvenient location for your sword. That is why all good sword fighters have it at their side, have it at their waist, so they can just draw. They can just draw just like that. The back is a terrible trash location for a sword, so it is very, very slow to be at the ready. Like I said before, although it is still recommended, highly recommended for maximum control to use two hands, one is still usable, but it's going to be much more stress on the user itself. And the Monado's maximum strength comes from tempering the will of the individual, so it is extremely powerful. Yes, on its own, it is still immensely powerful, but it can't release its max destructive power and defensive capabilities without having a strong will that it can temper and bless you with its abilities. So although it is strong, you can still get defeated by stronger weapons if you do not have a strong enough will to increase that power. But like I said before, we are assuming that anyone can use these, and all of these abilities and weapons and hands are the absolute strongest that they can be. Woo! The Monado is deadly. The Monado is dastardly. The Monado is in fact worthy of the title of a legendary sword. But we can't front. The Master Sword is up next. The Master Sword is one of the most popular legendary swords in media in general. It's up there, most definitely up there. The Master Sword, a sword crafted and developed by the goddess Hylia herself, and further developed by the spirit Fi, blessed with the power to repel any and all evil. It's capable of destroying magical barriers, break magic curses, can seal away demons and enemies inside the sword and other things itself. Possesses a light speed ranged attack imbued with heavenly power, the legendary Skyward Strike from Skyward Sword. It can absorb other energy, it can reflect light energy and energy projectiles. It is known to be unbreakable. It protects the user from evil auras and curses. Its elemental attacks are also absorbable as well. So that is a pretty nice set of advantages. The Master Sword itself is a really sleek looking weapon. It's much smaller than the Monado, so if you're looking for a smaller yet ranged weapon that is a lot better for close combat, and it's a lot easier to hold because of its lightness, and have a scabbard to protect yourself with, and you can keep it at your side if you want to. Now Link keeps the Master Sword on his back too. He keeps it on his back too. Why? I don't know, but it would be much more efficient if he kept it at his side, but he keeps it on his back. But if you had the Master Sword, you can keep it at your side, you can keep it in your hand, you can keep it on your shoe for all I care, or wherever you want it. But like all hands, they all have a card that can deal with them. While it is an unbreakable sword, it can indeed be damaged, and it attracts lightning. So although it can be good for fights, like for example the Skyward Strike is a light speed range attack imbued with heavenly power, and lightning is known to be something from the gods itself, so it can attract lightning when raised up into the air and use that energy to release the Skyward Strike. But remember, if it's raining and storming outside and you got the Master Sword on you, be prepared for some lightning to come down and get in your way. Like day-to-day life, I don't know about that one. And it also indeed slowly loses power over time when it is used in long periods. The Master Sword being put in its scabbard and being put in its pedestal restores its powers and capabilities. So you gotta remember, although it is strong, when used for a long period of time, it can be worn down, and a lot of its wearing down is different from game to game and timeline to timeline, but a lot of it came from Breath of the Wild, like how we saw the Master Sword damaged and rusted really. So like I said, the Master Sword, although an extremely powerful blade, and I do really like its design, I like its shortness, I like how it still ranges, I like its lightweightness and all the abilities that it does provide. It can break curses, it can seal away enemies, which is a very important ability to have. It's like you're using the evil containment wave in a sword. I still think that the main thing that drives the Master Sword is Link himself. Him being a skilled warrior with a skilled weapon is very great, but the Master Sword itself does not provide me with nearly as many benefits as say something like the Monado would, but it is it is a lot easier to handle, I can say. Like, you can use one hand if you want to, you could use two hands if you want to, and it is a lot less to heap up with as opposed, for example, the Monado, although it has a lot of abilities to it, that is a lot to put on a user. So that is a lot to learn, that is a lot to figure out, there's a lot to handle. Whereas the Master Sword, it has a nice set of abilities, a nice hand, not nearly as much to try to learn, but it gives you a nice strong arsenal of abilities to work with. So they both have their pros, and they both have their immense pros, they both have their significant cons. But overall, with all of these things taken into heavy consideration, I do personally say I gotta go with the Monado, man. Although I love the Master Sword, the Monado to me just seems like the superior weapon. Like, me sitting here right now, if I had to choose between the Monado and all its capabilities and the Master Sword and all of its capabilities, I can't just pass up on the Monado. Although its base power isn't beating the best of the Master Swords, it is still very strong and doesn't lose power over time. It can only grow stronger. The numerous abilities and that it grants the user is just on another level than the Master Sword. And best of all, the power of foresight it grants the user is just beyond broken. Being able to see the future whenever there's danger means you will always be ready to counter or evade enemy onslaughts. And the visions are frequent and consistent. Although I do prefer the lightweightness and portability of the Master Sword, the insanely long range of the Monado just makes it much more worth to me. Generally, although good, most benefits of the Master Sword come with the individual, like I said, while the Monado gains much from the individual, but also grants much to the individual as well, with less drawbacks. And like I said, it does not lose energy like the Master Sword does. It can only grow stronger by tempering the user's will. So although the best of the best Master Sword user won't really be struggling with a base Monado, although it will be struggling, it can definitely stand up to a base Monado. But when it comes to tempering the user's will completely to the max of its ability, the Monado is besting the Master Sword. And with the capability the Monado has to enhance itself to a point to it can even break weapons that are said to be unbreakable, defeat enemies that are known and renowned to be gods. It's just extremely powerful, and if I had to choose one, I gotta go with the Monado. Like I said, even personally, I like the design and the uniqueness of the Monado much more than I like the sleekness, like the lightweightness, and the simple yet powerful design that is the Master Sword itself. But as you can tell, this series is not just about me. This is just what I think, and this is just me pitting the two things against each other and the things that I was able to find and think of and dig up. So let me know what you guys think. Begin the discussion with myself and all the other viewers in the comments below. All positive interaction and feedback is encouraged. So if you enjoyed, I encourage you to leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more from this series and many more original series. So go ahead and check out my previous videos on my channel, original series, and stay tuned for more by subscribing to the channel and hitting the bell for notification whenever I upload a video. And don't forget to look into the description for my links to other social media such as my Twitch and Twitter, where I have a bunch of things coming for you guys. And that's really it. So I love you all, and I really appreciate you guys for checking it out and supporting this video, because it really helps me out a lot, and I can't thank you guys enough for it. So thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you guys in the next edition of Choose Your Hand. And let me know how you like the name, because I could not for the life of me figure out a good name. But I eventually got one. So see you in the next edition of this series. That didn't even make sense. I gotta stop talking. Peace out, guys.